Hey champions, Arian, Tyson here. Wanted to shoot a video to talk about three truths that people are scared to admit. I want to share with you three truths that people are scared to admit. And here's why I'm doing this. This past Friday, I was at Bible study and we were talking about fear. And it really got me to thinking because there are a lot of people that are living in fear. They're living in half truths and accepting falsehoods. And then we have to admit to a certain extent, we've been embracing too many half truths and falsehoods in our lives. We just be honest about it. And the thing is, these are subtle, but they constantly get in our way. Get in our way of what? They stop us from growing. They stop us from learning, loving, and living to our greatest potential. But here's the caveat. In many, this can be uncomfortable in a lot of different ways and even scary, but doing so is absolutely necessary. And I'm going to share with you three truths that people are scared to admit based on what I observed and even based on some things that I have gone through in my own life. So if you get value from it, feel free to share this video. Think about this. The vast majority of our struggles, I believe, are self-created. And not only that, we can choose to overcome them as soon as possible. Why do I say that? If you really think about this, we all struggle. We all suffer on the inside. Every day at some point, we worry, we procrastinate, we feel overwhelmed, we feel angry, we feel lonely, we don't feel good enough. We we wish we were thinner. We wish we had more money. We wish, our careers were different. We wish our relationships were different. We think everything in life should be easier, and yet every one of these struggles is self-created. Each of these things that we may feel, and many times is self-inflicted. Yes, they are real, but they are only real because we have created them in our minds. We have attached ourselves to certain ideals and certain fantasies about how life has to be in order to be good enough for us. And we worry because things might not turn out how we expect. We procrastinate because we fear failure and discomfort. We feel overwhelmed because we actually think we should be further along than where we are right now. We feel angry because life should not be this way, and so on and so forth. But it's all in our heads. And it does not have to be this way, at least not anymore. Why? Because you can think better. You can live better. And that is a choice you can make. As I've said repeatedly, it starts with you. Secondly, we fear the judgments of others, even though their judgments about us are rarely valid or significant. Ask yourself, what's wrong with other people wanting to like you? That's a question that a lot of people ask. And in a nutshell, tying your self-worth to everyone else's opinions of you gives you a flawed sense of reality. And I've said repeatedly that every man is flawed and every woman is flawed. And that flawed sense of reality can cause serious damage and serious trouble when it comes to your confidence and your happiness. Yet, we do it quite often. From wanting others to think we're attractive to checking the number of likes and comments on our social media post. Most of us ironically care about what others think. And I'm saying that as someone who lived most of my life like that. Key word, lived, as in past tense. In fact, a big part of this is an innate desire that we are born with. And it has been proven time and time again that a baby's emotions are often drawn directly from the behaviors of those around them. So just because you get a certain age don't mean you stop acting like a baby. As we grow up, we learn to separate our thoughts and emotions from everyone else. But many of us continue to seek this validation, and in many cases beg for it, positive social validation from others. And we have to be careful about that because we naturally respond to everything we experience through the lens of our learned expectations, which is a set of deep rooted beliefs about the way the world is and how things should be. And one of the most prevailing expectations we have involves external validation and how others should respond to us. And the biggest problem is we tend to forget that people judge us based on a pool of influences in their own life that have absolutely nothing to do with us. We got to be careful about that. And then finally, we must realize that in many ways, our past experiences have conditioned us to believe we are less capable than we are. All too often, we let the rejections of our past dictate every single move that we make. We literally do not know ourselves to be any better than what some opinionated person or narrow circumstance once told us was true. Now, old rejection does not mean we are not good enough. I'm going to say it again. Old rejection does not mean that we're not good enough. It just means some person or circumstance from our past failed to align with what we had to offer at the time. But somehow we don't see it that way. We hit a mental barricade that stops us in our tracks. And this is the most common and damaging thought patterns we as human beings become succumb to. Even though we intellectually know that we're gradually growing stronger than we were in our past, our subconscious mind often forgets our capabilities have grown. Think about that for a second. Think about who you seen that happen to. If you honest with yourself, it's happened to you too. I'm just trying to give it to you real. I'm just trying to be honest with you. And the key thing to realize is this. We need to learn from the past, but be ready to update what we learned based on how our circumstances have changed. And guess what? They constantly do. So I wanted to share that with you today. I wanted to give you something to think about because there are a lot of us walking around because they're scared to admit things and they're scared to be honest with themselves. So if you got value from this, feel free to share this video. Feel free to leave me a comment. And remember, in life, you have two choices. You can make moves or you can make excuses, but you most certainly cannot do both. It's yours truly, Arian Tyson, the Moving Motivator, and I will talk to you on the next one. Peace.